Hi, y'all. Welcome to a response to one of my reader Ask Me Anythings, one of my reader AMAs. Thank you, Jocelyn, a longtime subscriber, for asking about my thoughts on how to build a Division III water polo program. The question didn't specify gender, so I'm just going to break it up into four separate training periods. Okay, you've got your postseason, off season, preseason, and the season itself. Okay. So, first and foremost, if we're talking about our postseason, we're talking about, our after action report. What do we do well? What do we not do so well? Who's graduating? Who's coming back? Who's incoming? Who's transferring in? All of those questions that need to be answered and thought about and reflected upon. Coaches can also use this as an opportunity to reflect on how they did during the season. Were there one too many red cards? Did they call timeouts in inappropriate times? Were there plays that they could have run, defensive sets they could have run that made more sense? All of that time during the postseason is an excellent chance for reflection. Okay. The postseason also will give you an opportunity to meet with your athletes one on one and discuss what their weaknesses were throughout the course of the season, what their strengths are, how they defined their role throughout the course of the season, and then how to expand their role going into future seasons. So, this is a really valuable time for providing a lot of feedback, a lot of communication. The more clear communication that you can be providing, the better off everybody is. Okay. If as we transition into from those post season meetings into the quote unquote off season, off season is what I think of as a time for more reflection, more rest, but also a time to start working on your athletic skills that you may need some help on. For example, one of the things that I noticed from my freshman year to my sophomore year in college was I had really slow hands. My hand speed was not fast. I was a distance swimmer by trade, so I was just not a super explosive, quick, twitch type of athlete. And so I did boxing and kung fu between my freshman and sophomore year and my sophomore and junior season, and that was excellent for my athletic development. Um, Other activities that I participated in during my off seasons were skiing up in the mountains, great for leg strength. Just got to make sure that you stay free from injury. Um, the the beach volleyball is another great activity for your leg explosiveness and hand-eye coordination. Great full body workout. Soccer with your teammates is great for your tactical awareness, leg endurance, and leg strength and foot dexterity, all things that some athletes really need to work on. And what else can I think of? Golf is a great thing to just hit the mental reset button and feel how your kinetic chain works throughout your body, because that kinetic chain transfers really well to both throwing a water polo ball and also your swim technique as well. As we transition throughout the course of our off season, there's also a couple of other things that you should be thinking about with regards to your training program. Personally, I don't think that anyone should be taking gym time off throughout any one of the phases of the season. If you can be in the gym 3 to 4 times a week, regardless of what season you're in, that's a really good place to be, because you can you can build strength in that postseason, in that off season, and into the preseason. Build power and improve your mobility. The number one rule in the gym is don't get injured. So you should be preventing injury in the gym first, and then once you've established a good job and a good routine of preventing injury, then you can be adding your muscular strength, your muscular endurance, etc. Um, when you start to get back in the pool in your off-season training and into your preseason training, the first thing that I would recommend doing is really taking a look at hammering on your fundamentals, specifically your swimming fundamentals. If you can shave a couple of seconds off of your 100 freestyle time, that translates to much better swims when you're doing your VO2 max sets, sets that improve your VO2 max, some like middle distance training sets. And it also translates into just greater efficiency in your water polo game throughout the course of the season. So most water polo players, and especially where around I live, they've really focused on water polo pretty early now. 14, 15, 16 years of age, they're doing water polo full time year round. And it's a bit of a disservice, in my opinion, to your water polo game, because if you can be spending a lot of that time really focusing on your swimming fundamentals, you're going to save a lot of time, save a lot of effort, and get to where you want to go faster, both literally and figuratively. Okay. Um, so as you've completed improving your fundamentals in swimming, and this is a lifelong process, you want to just get those fundamentals so good that you don't even have to think about them when you're doing your long swim sets, and they don't break down when you're doing your longer swim sets. You're going to start transitioning into your VO2 max training. And when I say VO2 max training, there is a Norwegian model that it prescribes 4 minutes of high intensity work at 80-90% your max heart rate, and then 4 minutes of rest. High intensity interval training, so your 2200s, 5 on 125, 5 on 120, 5 on 115, 5 on 110, or 5 400s, descend 1 to 5. First one, just make the interval. Second one, a little faster. Third one, about 80% effort. Fourth one, about 90% effort. And then the last one, all out. The clock doesn't lie for those things, and it's really tough to hide uh, with regards to where you are in your VO2 max training. But those sorts of things will give you a really good endurance base that'll take you throughout the course of the season. Um, I'm not a major fan of the crazy long distance sets, swimming at about 60% effort, like the 42s of the world, the 82s, whatever. Those are more ego driven sets, in my opinion. But, occasionally one of those sets thrown in there is not the worst thing in the world, just from a mental toughness perspective and doing hard things with your teammates together. But I wouldn't lean on those sorts of training modalities as far as what is best for maximal improvement in the shortest amount of time. As we transition from our off-season training, and one thing I should also mention about our off-season training, this is your best time to add tools to your toolkit. So, for example, if you have a senior center who led your team in both ejections earned and in natural goals from center, and your team needs to replace some of that production. One of the best things that you could be doing, say if you're a center defender, is maybe you're playing at the 3 position on offense on a pretty regular basis, and you've got a good outside shot. You're good at finding center passes and stuff, but you don't really have much of a post up game. The off season is the time to put that put all of those fundamentals into place and learn that new skill. So maybe driving from the 3 position down to the 3 post, and learning how to draw ejections and finish from a backup center position. This is all going to be based on what your team needs, but that's an example that I would use. Like, add another tool to your toolkit, or a couple of tools to your toolkit, because this is the time for you to expand your role on the team. As you transition into spring or into preseason, your coach is going to start having a pretty good idea of where to put you and what you're capable of. And so if you have more things that you're capable of, you're going to get more looks, more playing time, more plays designed for you. And so all of that stuff is best focused on and taken care of in that off season leading up into that preseason training. Once you transition into your preseason training, you're now thinking about maintaining all of that VO2 max and hard work, that money in the bank that you've put into place during your off season, and transitioning that into more water polo specific work. So a couple of workouts that I like. 10 200s water polo IM. You're not allowed to use the walls with your feet, so you grab that thing, push off with your hands, and then you're hipping over to do water polo with butterfly kick, water polo lunging with backstroke kick, um, double kick breaststroke, and then lunge freestyle. 10 or let's see, 16 100s of head up swim down, push off the wall, head up swim to the 15-meter yellow buoy, flip to your back as if you're on a counterattack, and then flip back to your stomach on that second buoy, push off that wall again. Do 16 of those on 130. Start getting a little bit more dialed in with your water polo specific training. Try to figure out a cadence that works with the pace of the game, so that and then do a little bit extra so that you're prepared for an overtime period, and you can be successful in those overtime periods. Defensive drilling as you transition from the off season into the preseason is also very vital. I personally have. I'm a disciple of Robert Lynn's, and he had a warm up called Program One. And Program One is a bunch of different defensive drills that all line up in a warm up. So you can do your defensive drills every single day as a portion of your warm up. And I think that, making sure that you're maximizing the distance that you cover in the water with each one of your breaststroke kicks, and understanding how your body works and how far you can travel, so you understand how far you can help. All of that stuff is really valuable in your preseason preparation through your in-season training. Let's see. Once you have progressed into your preseason, your strength and conditioning in the weight room shifts slightly, but I would still say that you're still trying to add some of that power, some of that strength, and maintaining some of that mobility. But you want to be going into your season in a place where you're a little bit sore, but you're so you have the ability to back off as games get tougher, but you're still feeling some improvements week over week. As you progress into your season, again, you want to be maintaining some of that work rate so that you do have the ability to pull back and taper towards the end of the year, so you can be the sharpest when the games matter the most. Your drilling in the weight room can shift from a more strength-oriented work to more power explosiveness-oriented work, because we just want to be the quickest and jumpiest and froggiest at the end of our seasons. And I wouldn't go too crazy on your distance covered as far as yardage is concerned during season, especially as you progress towards the end of it. A lot of folks like to train super hard, and I think that while training super hard is vitally important to success, you don't want a team that beat up, worn down, injured in training, or getting sick at the end of the year. I hope that's helpful. I think that's a few of my thoughts there on how I would think about building a D3 water polo program. Thank you so much for the question, Jocelyn. Go be great, everybody. Take care.